Hello and welcome to T Money Talks. In this week's episode, T Money is going to talk about their trip to Joshua Tree, about what they did, what they saw, and anything else they feel like sharing. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. All right. Hello. Welcome back. This is your host, T Money on the mic, and I am ready to get in and down into episode 2 of season 2 of T Money Talks. Yes. Hello. If you are new here, hi, my name's T Money. I'm your host for the night. For the next 35 to 40 minutes, I will be talking to you, to myself, and to anything else that may come about in my brain. But for today's topic, I will be talking about what I did when I went out to Joshua Tree. Yes, folks, this past week I was in Joshua Tree for about 4 days. It was a lovely time. I had a great trip, and I can't wait to get into that and dive deep into that because, as I said, season 2 of T Money Talks is going to be more organized. I got topics, I got things I gotta say, I got things I want to talk about. How long will I go about this? That I do not know. That I cannot answer because you see, I don't even know, because last season I really did push to get it to like 40 minutes every time, and that's kind of hard, like talking for 40 minutes to yourself about whatever it is you feel like talking about or whatever comes to your head is very hard. It's very hard to do. I have learned why people do podcasts with other hosts, hostess with the mostest. You got bouncing ideas off of each other, which is why I like to have guests come on the show. But nonetheless, we know I'm a talker, and I can talk all the time. I'm talking. So we're just gonna see where this is gonna go. We just don't know. Anyways, I am excited for today's episode of T Money Talks because I've kind of been looking forward to it this week because, well, not this week, just today in general, I should say. I can't wait to get into my trip about Joshua Tree because it just helped me in so many ways. Anyways, but yeah, I was excited. I woke up today like, oh my god, it's Sunday, it's T Money Talks recording day. Like, I can't wait to get into this. I am so ready to just sit in my room alone in front of my mic and just spew out whatever and everything I want to say, and that's this is my favorite part of the week, where I just really get to really just relax and unwind and just talk about what I've been up to throughout the week or whatever the topic of the week is, so that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm excited about. And I'm sorry, I'm tired with the 4-day trip in Joshua Tree and me still like adjusting to walking from not walking for a year, learning to get back to my normal, trying to get back to where I once was. Like I'm doing really well. I'm doing really good. Like I'm not cutting myself short or like saying, oh, I should be farther ahead, or putting myself down, or not acknowledging how far I have come since my accident, because I absolutely know I have come a long way. And like, yeah, it sucks that I'm like really exhausted right now because like from the 4-day trip of like doing so much walking and stuff, but like it's okay because it's just something I gotta get used to in order to get back to my normal, in order to be able to walk and stand for a long amount of time without having to be like, I need to sit down, I'm gonna die if I can't sit, or just be like, my foot hurts, can I please get a seat, because it's a rough time out here for me sometimes. But yeah, so like that's just it. I'm a little tired from the amount of walking and standing I did, but I am very, very proud of myself for the amount of walking and standing I did on this trip, because I feel like it's the most walking and standing I've done in a year. And let's just say every day I pretty much closed my move ring and my stand ring. So I mean, of course, that's not to say I was constantly standing for 12 hours, because no, of course there were periods of time. Oop, I just hit the mic. There I go again, folks. There I go again. Anyways, but because like there was times where whether we would be eating or we would just be driving to the next destination, so I wasn't constantly standing, but it was a lot of sitting and standing. So I was able to go a lot further for a lot longer because I had this nice equal balance between walking and sitting down, to rest. So that was nice for my foot. So I was able to make it throughout the day, every day until the nighttime when I was getting ready for bed, and then my foot would just ache in pain, and I'd just be like, oh my goodness, But it was cool. It was all right because I lasted. I really thought I was gonna wake up like the first night wasn't too bad, because we didn't leave till about 3 or 4. I want to say like 4 or 5. I don't quite remember what time we left, but yeah, we left in the evening time, so we hit some traffic, so we didn't really do like a whole lot the first night. I'm trying to remember. Oh my god, how bad is my memory? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. The first night we ate. No, we didn't eat. So in Joshua Tree, the Airbnb was in this city called 29 Palms. It's like right next to Joshua Tree. It's like right next to the park and stuff. So like, and it was a good price for the Airbnb and stuff. So we were like, heck yeah, let's do it. Anyways, needless to say, we thought we were so the drive there, it felt like we were gonna be in the middle of nowhere. So like we stopped at a Jack in the Box like 40 minutes from the Airbnb because we were like, oh my god, we're not gonna have food for like miles. And as we're continuing to drive, that's like the whole thought. And then we get there. No, that was not at all the case. We were like 10 minutes from like the nearest like Jack in the Box or like McDonald's, so like it wasn't even that bad. Well, the only thing was a lot of the places did close pretty early, so that was like only the downside. But other than that, it was a really great time. But yeah, so like the first official day we were there was pretty, it wasn't, no, it was pretty hot, but not too hot, And we woke up. For whatever reason, I woke up so early. It was insane because I don't wake up till like 10 or 11. So I woke up at like 7 or 8 a.m. 7 or 8 a.m. I woke up on our first night on our first day in Joshua Tree. And I don't know why. I just maybe because it was hot. Maybe because it was hot and the Airbnb we stayed in didn't have an AC. It just had 2 swamp coolers. But hey, it got the job done, it got the job done. Maybe that was it, why I could have been up so early. But anyways, needless to say, since we were both up, we decided to get ready and we went out to breakfast. We ate at a cafe, there in Joshua Tree because we wanted to eat locally, because why are we gonna go to Denny's when we're in a new city? We gotta try, we gotta experiment, we gotta do new things, new city, new vibes, new adventures. That's what the trip was really all about, Anyways, yeah, so we got breakfast around 8 a.m. and then after that, I believe we went to the grocery store. And then I bought some steaks because I was going to make us some steaks because I make amazing steaks. Like the best steaks you will ever have by T-Money. If you ever are lucky enough for me to season and marinate you one of my steaks, I will have blessed your life. I'm just kidding. It just means that I really, it just means that I think you're really cool, I guess. I don't know. I feel like only certain people can get my steaks, because my steaks are excellent and it's not everyone deserves my steak. Anyways, that aside from the point. Yeah, so we went to breakfast, went to the grocery store and got some other stuff that we needed for the place that the place didn't happen to have or that we happened to not bring, so we did that. And then we went back to the Airbnb, dropped the stuff, then we just kind of like hung out for the day, because we were both tired. We were up early. It was like it was pretty much a 2-hour drive going to Joshua Tree, and that was just because we had left in the evening time, so there was traffic and stuff. But it wasn't too bad, it wasn't like, oh my god, like bumper to bumper traffic or anything. It was like, no, it was just your traffic, along the way here and there. But it was still really cool, really fun, like drive for me anyways. Being on the passenger side. But yeah, so then after hanging out at the place, we decided to then go to a museum, a salon museum, in fact, and the place was I like when well I guess yes it's in a museum in a sense, but it was also a salon, like boutique for people to get their hair cut and styled, so it was really just a salon that had a lot of cool stuff that made it like made it museum like, so that was cool. But you were able to walk around the whole place and see like everything that the guy had collected throughout his life, which he had some really cool vintage stuff there. Like it was wild the amount of stuff we got to see, even though it was pretty small. And he also had a gift shop. I got a nice Hawaiian shirt that I look really good in that I wore. And then we also got some free combs, because outside the door is a little Betty Boop like holding like combs, and the combs are actually his business cards. Which I found like really cool, I thought that was cool, having like a comb as your business card. It is getting toasty in here, so I may have to pause this and turn on the fan unless the air kicks on, because I'm feeling the heat starting to rise, and I'm trying to focus on the topic for the week, and I just can't if it's gonna be this hot. Also, I do have my candle on though, so maybe that is contributing to like the heat rising in the room. Anyways, it's fine. We're living, we're learning, we're zooming, we're going. Yes, so then we went to a museum. And then after that, oh yeah, and then also before we walked into the museum, where the museum was placed, it also had some other cool like outside artwork stuff, and it also had the world's smallest crochet museum. So we got to go in there and see that, all like the crochet dolls and stuff, and it looked really cool. The only downside is because we decided to go during the summertime, it was like 90 degrees at 10 a.m. or like 11 a.m. and it was just by like 12 it was like 90 degrees, so it was really hot. And the place, the museum, the crochet museum, was just like a wooden shed full of the crochet dolls. But it was, don't get me wrong, like the way I described it like doesn't sound as cool as it was, but it was just a small shed painted like bright green, and then like like full of like with windows, so you could see like the crochet dolls in there, and you could still also walk inside and see like everything that there is. And it was really cool. It was just really hot in there. So it was kind of hard to, well, no, it wasn't hard to enjoy, but like it did like make like it made it hard to want to stay in there for a long time, so that you could see all of the dolls that there were. That was the only like thing that was like rough, but like we did our best. I had a sweat rag, we had water and stuff, so we were in there, we were able to see it. It was cool. Like nothing that took like you could spend like 5 hours in, of course. But surrounding that were a bunch of like art sculptures. I don't know why I'm starting not to be able to talk again. So what we got to do. We got to bring out the accent to get whatever is happening out, so that I may continue to talk to you guys normally and with ease and without me struggling. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so then after the museum and looking at all the art exhibits that they had to offer, I believe we just kept driving down, because from where the Airbnb was parked, the drive there was a bunch of antique stores and vintage shops, and just lots of really cool stores and like shopping areas that we wanted to explore. So like after we did that, we kind of just drove down the road to like see and write down all the stores and the names of the stores that we wanted to take a look at. And we stopped at some, if we wanted. I thought I hear a buzz. I don't know if it's me or if it's, oh, just kidding, it was the air. Sorry, I thought we were going to be having a technical difficulty already in episode 2 of season 2. I was going to go crazy for a second. I was hearing a buzzing noise and I thought it was coming from my microphone, but I was like, wait, no, it doesn't sound like it. And I was about to hit pause, but I was like, I don't want it to be a technical difficulty already in just episode 2 of season 2 of Tea Money Talks. That would just be the worst. But it wasn't. It was just my air turning on. Thank goodness, because I was getting so hot in here. But anyways, yeah, so we just drove down, wrote down some names of the shops that we wanted to see, got somewhere to eat again, and then I believe we went back to the Airbnb, and then later on in the evening, because again, we started our day for the first day at like 8 a.m. So we had like, the days felt like so long, but at the same time, like, it was so cool because we got to do so much because of that. And also we started our days really early. But you kind of had to, because it gets hot really fast, and you don't want to lose. Anyways, you just didn't want to lose a lot of time. So we did end up going to Joshua Tree later on that evening. Before going into the park, we stopped at like this observatory, which we got to see like some of the stuff that it had to offer. And the thing is, we wanted to go to Joshua Tree at night so we could see the stars, and so my friend could take night photography pictures, like, pictures of the stars. And they got some really good ones. Some really good ones. Anyways, yeah. So we went into the park later on that night, drove around, I climbed some rocks. I love climbing rocks, and we saw like some different parts of the park. And as the sun went down, we eventually found like an area for us to like look at the stars for a bit, and that was fun eventually. And that was how the night ended. Day one was it was a success. Day one was pretty good, I'd say. Starting the day as early as we did and doing the amount that we did, I think we did a really good job. Day two, we did not start our day as early. I know we definitely wanted to try to start at like 8 a.m. again, but I was tired, they were tired, so we were like, we'll just start at like, we'll just get up at like 9. So like I went back to sleep and then got up at 9, and then we started the day, and then we started every day with breakfast. But this day, because we were very tired from the day before, we didn't go out to breakfast, or well, more like lunch till like 12. And this day we were gonna hit up all the shops, or like try to hit up all the shops, but the only struggle was with antique shops, and like with all antique stores close really early. They open like 10 or 11, and then they all close at like 5 or 6, and so it's kind of, and there's like so many that like it was hard for us to like try to see them all in one day because of because like they close so early, and we didn't go out to eat lunch until like 12, or first meal at 12. But like it was fine, because like I was tired, I needed the rest. And then we went to a cafe there. I had an okay burger, I was like, for what it was worth, I was like, yeah, okay, that was cool, that was a good meal, it filled me up. And then after that we went to a few of the antique and vintage stores until I got far too hot to handle anything. And then I wanted to continue going to more stores, but I was really hot. So we ended up just going back to the Airbnb. We cooled off. We chilled out for a bit, because just because it was just so hot. It was just so hot in like early in the afternoon, at like 1 or 2, it was like 100, and it was just so hard, and like I couldn't believe like that some of the stores just didn't have air conditioning. It's like, not to say that they were brutally hot, but just they were just, for me, it was okay. You have to remember that T-Money is hotter than like your average person, not in like appearance in an appearance sense, but in the sense that I literally sweat when it's raining outside. Like I'm like going through menopause or something, like my entire life. Like I am constantly sweating, and I'm just always hot all the time, so like being I'm always at like a 97 degree level in temperature, it feels like. So imagine being 97 degree, feeling like you're 97 degrees already, and then being in a 100-degree place, and then being in a store that isn't that cool. And then so like it kind of, that you're sweating in, that's when it becomes too much for me to handle. That's when it becomes too hard for me, and it's like I don't want to say or do anything that's gonna be influenced by my anger of how hot I am, you know. So we just we just went back to the Airbnb and chilled, and then later on in the evening we I believe we just ended up going back to Joshua Tree later on in the evening as it got cooler. We just ended up going back to Joshua Tree to again look at the stars, and we also explored more of the park as well. Also, some very exciting news that I have almost forgotten to mention. The most thrilling thing to happen. Well, actually no. Actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue going in order of the days because that's how we're gonna stay on track on what we're doing. Okay, yes. So that was day 2. Then yes, we went to the Joshua Tree again because after 5 the park is like in quotation marks free. Anyways, so we always went to the park after 5 p.m. and then so we explored a lot because the sun was still up, and we stayed that we would go to the park while the sun was still out, explore as much as we can until the sun set, and then we got to see all the stars at night. And god, the amount of stars that I saw, like it looks like we were in a dome, like we were at like the Griffith Observatory looking up at like a projector of stars, that it was just so beautiful. Like I ended up buying binoculars because I wanted to see the stars better. I was just that blown away and that just so I was just so speechless by the amount of stars that I saw that I was just like, I've never seen this many stars before in my life. And I was just like, this is all I've ever wanted to do is just sit somewhere I was laying on the bench, one of the the bench tables that they have for the camping areas, because that's where we ended up parking for just to stay there for a few hours to look at the stars. And so I ended up just laying on the table with my head up while my friend took pictures of the sky, and I was just looking at the stars, and I just playing some Minecraft and just enjoying myself and just really just relaxing and letting go and just I can't tell you how good it felt to look at those stars and just completely forget everything that I had going on, because while you're in the park, you also have no service. So it's you can't take a picture and post it on social media, or you can't go on your social media and stuff. It's you can't really be on your phone. There's no use for it, because you have no service. So it was just me playing Minecraft and looking up at the stars and just genuinely being in the moment and enjoying what I had to be in my surroundings, looking up at the stars, and just feeling so relaxed and so free and just so careless, so forget it just felt so nice every time. And so after that we went to Joshua Tree every night after that. And so that was day 3. And then day 4, our final day, sorry, our final day, we woke up the final day because we didn't wake up too early on day 3. We decided we were we're gonna wake up again at 8 a.m. and start our day by 9, the same way we did the first day. And so that's exactly what we did. And we went to breakfast. We went to this place called Andrea's. And let me tell you, folks, if you ever go to Joshua Tree and you visit there and you're I want to try this place called Andrea's, do not go. Do not go. It is not good food. And the waitress I had, she was testing me. She was testing me, and I was already in a mood, and I held it together. The universe was trying to test me, but I did not take the bait. I did not take the bait because as you folks know, I cannot have dairy products. So every time I go to a breakfast place that I don't know, I always have to ask them, hey, what do you cook your eggs in? What do you cook your hash browns in? Do you use butter? Do you use margarine? Or do you just use oil? Because different places use different things. Certain restaurants will use butter for their eggs. Certain restaurants won't use butter for their eggs. So these are things I have to know, because I have to know what I can and can't order, what I have to eliminate of my options on the menu, So it was just a simple question that I had asked, and then my waitress goes, do you know anything about the food industry? And it took me back for a second, because I just wanted to hit her back with her sass, and I didn't, because I was just no, this is not the time, this is not the place, I am not going to cause a scene here. And so, we just continued, and she didn't even know the answer. Anyways, needless to say, they didn't use oil, sorry, not butter. They used oil for their foods and stuff. So anyways, don't go to Andrea's sucks. It's terrible. Yes, I am bad mouthing the place because the waitress is horrible, but anyways, either way, the food wasn't good anyways, and I feel like the waitress I had was Andrea. And Andrea, if you do hear this, yes, just know I did not enjoy your food, ma'am, and no, I didn't want to be ripped off with your $3 orange juice. Yes, you have upset me, and I have power, ma'am. I have power. And waitress who works at Andrea's, just know that please, the next time someone asks you a question that I have, be respectful and know that I was just asking for a food allergy, even though I did tell you that. You should just be more aware and try to be a little bit nicer, because that was just not okay. Not okay. Anyways, after having Andrea's, we did not finish our food, by the way, because again, it was not good. We ended up going back to the Airbnb, getting some snacks, and then going about our day. And then we went to an outdoor museum. The museum was literally in someone's backyard in Joshua Tree, but the thing, it was cool. It was cool though. Like, it was a bunch of sculptures and out in the middle of the desert. Like, it was really cool. I definitely do recommend. It was like Noah something foundations, like art museum. Definitely recommend if you are in Joshua Tree, but if you do go into the summertime, be aware it will be very, very hot if you go in the morning time. I recommend going in the evening. We went there around like 10 and we were sweating our butts off. It was so hot out there in Joshua Tree. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch my breath. But anyways, yeah, so we were out in this outdoor museum at like 10 a.m. and it was already like 90 degrees. It was hot, but there was really cool sculptures. A lot of the stuff you could walk into, like the sculptures were interactive and stuff, so like that was really cool. Getting to walk into, like, being really engulfed in the art is kind of what I really enjoyed the most about it. The only downside again was it being so hot, but we were prepared. We had waters. I had my sweat rag, like 10 out of 10. I had a really great time. Like, we didn't spend a long time there. We definitely didn't spend a long time there because it was so hot, but we still had a good time either way. And we had decided to try to make plans to go back there again in the evening, since it was just someone's backyard, and we, like, there, so it wasn't something that would be closed or you wouldn't have access to later on in the day. So like we were like, probably not the best idea of us to go to a museum that early in the morning because it's so hot, but it was still cool. We still had a good time. After that, we ended up going to the store to get some more stuff, and then stopping at Carl's Jr. because we were both still hungry, because again, Andrea's food, the restaurant we ate at, was not good. So anyways, yeah, we went to Carl's Jr. and then after Carl's Jr. we went to another museum, which was really cool. It was free between like certain hours. It was also already next to the Noah's backyard museum that we had saw. So it was like one museum after another, and then so after that museum we ended up hitting up all like the rest of the shops that we didn't get to see the day before. So like we got a lot done on our last day too. We got to see more stores, and then I made steaks dinners. The steak, we're not even gonna talk about that. Anyways, yeah, so we got to do a lot of stuff our last day too, and of course it ended with us going to Joshua Tree once again to look up at the stars. This is when I bought some really good binoculars to look at the stars. So like I was like really prepared. Like I was downloading music from Spotify so that I could have better music to listen to while I was stargazing, while my friend was taking their pictures of the night sky. And so like I was ready for a really nice way to end our trip in Joshua Tree. And so we're parking back at the same spot we've been parking because it's just a really good area to stargaze as well as take pictures. And there was only like one other car there, but like it was farther away, so anyway, so it's just like the other car that's a couple like rocks away from us, and then us, and like we're very far distance from each other, so no one's like having to worry about like, oh, we're too close or anything. But anyways, so our night goes on, we're having a great time, and then suddenly this car pulls up, and like in the strangest way, like I'm laying there on the picnic table, my friends taking their pictures, and I'm just vibing to my music using my binoculars, and then this car like starts to enter where the campground is, or like where we're all parked, and then it just stops and the car parks, and these two guys get out, and they're like really close to where we were parked, where our picnic table was. Like they were maybe like, I don't even want to say how many feet, but they were close enough to where like it gave me weird vibes. Like when I heard two guys get out, and then like one of them ran or went into like the park in the middle of the night. This is at like 10 p.m., in Joshua Tree, where there are no like street lights to light up the place. Like it's pitch black. Like the only way you can see is if you have a flashlight or you use your headlights on your car. Like that's how dark it is. So that's how come you could see so many stars. So one of the guys go into the park, and then one of the other guys like yells his name. I'm assuming to tell him like, hey, come back in so we could leave. However though, I don't know if both men got back into the car. I do not know if both men got back into the car. And so I was still laying down the whole time, but they were like using flashlights and stuff, and saw that my friend and I were there sitting at the table, like doing stuff. Well, like I was stargazing and they were taking pictures, so they like saw us there doing what we were doing. And then so eventually they got back in their car. Again, I don't know if both of them got in the car. And then it seems like they were going to park at the other spot, like really like pretty much next to us, and that made me uncomfortable. So like even before they got back in the car, I went from laying on the table to sitting up on the table, like upright, like, hey, I'm now aware that like you are giving me bad vibes and whatever, and you need to be aware that I'm now on guard of whatever it is you're doing. So I'm assuming this car is going to park next to us. They end up leaving. However, like I said, I don't remember if I heard the two men both get back into the car. So they leave, they drive off, and then our friend and I'm still sitting up, and then I look over at my friend, and we both kind of just like, that was weird, but we're like, whatever, let's just go back to what we were doing. I didn't lay back down because the vibes just were not the vibes were off in Joshua Tree that night. So like I'm still sitting upright, like trying, like using my binoculars, but just sitting up instead of laying down on the table again. And then my friend's still taking their pictures, and then because it's so quiet, because no one is else around, and like my music is really low because I really just kind of want to hear the atmosphere of Joshua Tree anyways, we hear footsteps near us. In the darkness of Joshua Tree at 10 p.m. at night, we hear footsteps. We both heard them, and I go, did you hear that? And my friend goes, yeah. And then it was like in that moment we both turned on our flashlights and like aimed it to where we heard the footsteps, and I like immediately pulled out my knife and like swung it out and was like ready to like stab anyone in the carotid to like, whatever it was, because the thing was the footsteps were heavy, and we know it wasn't an animal because it would have been 4 feet, not 2. And so like we just got really bad vibes, and after we turned our flashlights on, we were like, yeah, let's go. And so we both left. We got our stuff. Like we were on guard the whole time. Like I had my knife out as we're like packing up the car with all of our stuff, and like we're flashing the light around to like make sure like whoever it is knows that we are aware that we heard them out there. And if it was just one of those guys who was just like going into the wilderness, just I don't know, because he's weird, like he could have been like, oh hey, sorry man, that was just me, ha ha ha, and it would have been cool, it would have been handy dandy. But no, we don't know if that was the vibe, and either way the vibes were off, and we were not okay with it. So we immediately packed our things and left as quick as we could, and so we were safe. It was not the best way to end like the leaving the park, because we really did want to enjoy like the last time we got to look up at that many stars. So we just went back to the Airbnb, ended up watching like an episode of something just to get like the jitters out, and then we were good. And that was on then. And then that leads us to like coming back home, and then on the way back we stopped at a cactus shop. I picked out a cactus, y'all. I'ma be a cactus mama. Anyways, yeah, so that was fun. But anyways, so and then we get back home. Anyways, so what I want to tell you that happened on the trip, the most exciting part, I drove for the first time since my accident. I drove in Joshua Tree, and I couldn't believe it. So I initially had the urge to drive on the first day when we were first driving out to Joshua Tree, because when we were like 40 minutes away from our Airbnb, it was just a straight shot drive. Like we were just driving straight for the next 40 minutes to the Airbnb. I was like, and the roads were very calm. It wasn't a lot of people, and it was just like you could see all the lake. It was just 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way, so, and you could see all the lanes. It was very easy. And I was like, hey, I could probably drive this. Like, this seems like a piece of cake. And then my friend goes, do you want to drive? And then I was like, I was kind of taken back from it, because I was like, oh my God, should I, I didn't that day. But the following day, though, I did. And I must tell you guys, like, I really thought this is probably going to end up being a whole nother topic for a podcast episode, is like the first time I drove, and because we're starting to run out of time here, so I will jot that down as a podcast episode for me telling you more about the first time that I drove again since my accident. But yes, I just wanted to end this podcast episode like after me telling you everything that I did in Joshua Tree. I drove, and that'll be another podcast episode, because some other things because I did come back from Joshua Tree with 2 very, very cool and very important, very special items with me. Well, in Joshua Tree, there was a couple of crystal shops. 2 of them, I was not a fan of. The vibes were definitely off in those crystal shops. So I ended up not getting anything, unfortunately. And I was getting sad, because I was like, damn, I really do want to buy some crystals out here in Joshua Tree, out here in the desert, where it's like, I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. And so eventually the third shop we found, I didn't get any crystals, but as I was looking at the tarot decks, I was called to one of them, and I ended up buying a new tarot deck, and the connection and the power and the bonds that I felt and the way I was drawn to it, I knew that I had to get the deck. And then I think the worker working there overheard me tell my friend that I said that I think I have to get this, or that I don't think, that I know I have to get it. And so I was like looking at the cards more, and then the employee offered to let me go in the back in where they do the readings to examine the cards more, because she was like, you have to get to know them before you take them home. And that was just so welcoming to me. And it was just like then and there that I was like, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna be getting these. And then I went into the room and I connected with the cards. I was looking through them. I was, shuffling them and doing all that stuff. And then I was like, yeah, no, these are my cards. And so, yeah, I connected with them. I fell in love with them. They called to me. I was drawn to them, and I just knew I bought them. Best purchase the whole time I was in Joshua Tree was getting those tarot cards. Like, they are so beautiful. We have a connection. I have bonded with them. They are absolutely me. And like, I could feel that I'm going to do so much good with this tarot deck. And I'm just so excited to get to know, to do readings on myself, on friends, anyone who would like one. And I'm just really excited to start this journey with this tarot deck, because I know it's going to be a really beautiful one, and it's going to help me expand on my journey so much more. And that's really what I'm excited the most about. And so I'm really glad I was able to find this tarot deck and have such a connection like that, because it was just, I wasn't expecting that. And that was the most beautiful part, is, it was something that was unexpected that happened. And then on our way home, we stopped at Palm Springs. I was going to say Joshua Tree. But we stopped at Palm Springs, and there was a crystal shop that I wanted to go to because it looked nice. And there, when we got there, it was a very big crystal shop, but they just did not have a lot to offer, was the thing. It was like, it was so big. They could have had so much, but they had so little. And that was a little disappointing, but I didn't walk away empty-handed. I did not walk away empty-handed. And that is also what I love too, is I ended up buying a necklace. It was a copper wired axonite crystal as a necklace, and I knew I wanted to get a new crystal necklace because I usually wear when I had a obsidian or or one of the other ones. I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce it. Anyways, I had one of those as a necklace during my accident, and then I ended up losing it after, because of my accident. Anyways, needless to say, I've been wanting to get another crystal necklace, and when I was looking at the necklaces that they had to offer, this one that I have, this axonite, just I was very drawn to it. And then once I held it in my hand and I felt the energy and I felt the connection, I was like, I had to ask one of the employees if they knew what the stone was, and then they did. And when they told me the name of it, and then they told me like what it is used for and what it can do, I was like, wow, no, yep, I am meant to get this one. This is exactly what I need. This is exactly why I am so drawn to it, and why I feel such a connection in the power within the stone. And then so when I go to the register to up and pay, I end up meeting the man who wired the stone and made the necklace himself, and he tells me axonite is eternal, is the stone for eternal love. And it was in that moment that I like understood what he meant, and he asked me if I was ready for that, and I absolutely am. So those are the two things, my axonite copper wire necklace and my tarot deck that I got to come home with, and Joshua Tree. And those two things have just, ever since that trip, the whole trip just helped me so much, because I wasn't on my phone at all the whole time, and that's what I loved. Like, of course, I still posted my TikToks for Now or Never and made my little social media posts, but other than that, I was not on my phone at all. Like, I was completely taken away from social media and all my work life and everything that I had to do, and I got to spend time in just the moment, and I got to live every day like in the moment, like without the idea of like, oh, gotta check my phone, oh, gotta text this person, oh, gotta do this. Like, it was just constantly just being engulfed in the environment and being in the moment, living there, and it was just so exciting for me. And that's I loved this Joshua Tree trip, because it helped me really connect back with myself. It helped me center myself. It helped me ground myself. I've come home with two beautiful things for my altar and to help me grow on my journey of life and self-love. And I cannot express anymore to you how much I am grateful for this trip. I had such an amazing time. Yes, the Airbnb had its difficulties. I don't want to get into that because I just wanted to talk about what I did, and and how good I feel since coming back home from the Joshua Tree trip. Just looking up at the stars was so cleansing and just so refreshing, and it just was so freeing to just be there living, to just be on a vacation, to not have any other worries, to not have any stresses, to really just de-stress and decompress is what I got to do on this trip. And that was exactly what I needed to do. And I just couldn't be more grateful for my friend driving us there, because I haven't been driving, but I did get to drive. And so like, it was just such a nice time. And I just I just feel so much better. I feel so good, and I am so excited to continue on with this journey. I am excited to continue on with season 2 of Tea Money Talks. I hope you are excited. I'm very excited. This is all I have to say for this week's episode, folks, because otherwise it will go on for like 5 hours. I just feel so good. It was an amazing trip, and I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to do it and have the experiences that I had. So that is all I have for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed my story of me telling you about my vacation and my trip to Joshua Tree. So until next time, guys, this is T Money saying, live your life because you're the only one who gets it. All right, bye.